Now it is recording, yes.
Okay, great. Mm.
Okay. Well, we can start from the top.
Okay, yeah. How?
Maybe I would like you,
hmm
um, yeah, to tell a little story about yourself.
There's not really a story to tell. There's the if I mean, can you be a bit more specific about what it is that you'd like me to
Yes. Oh,
express
you're so
at the
kind.
time?
You're really trying to get onto my question. So let's see. We invent a little situation. You're on a party and someone asks you, "Hey, hi, I heard your name is, who are you? What is your name? What are you doing?"
Those questions always a little bit tricky, but I mean, ultimately, uh, the I'll describe a little bit about this immediacy or what goes on here, and so there was an apparent seeker called David who was going about the world trying to find a solution um, to uh, uh, to a big feeling of depression that was going on for many apparent years in that life, and uh, and the, the a lot of different methods were sought to try to fix the problem that was there, and in amongst that was a feeling of separateness, a feeling fundamentally of being separate from everything, and a sort of longing for that to end. And so there were many sort of apparent teachers that sort of came and went, but then I came across a speaker. Well, firstly, I came across a speaker called UG Krishnamurti, and I listened to that for quite a while. And then after that, there was I came across Tony Parsons and the Open Secret, and in that expression there was something that resonated very deeply, and I sat in many meetings trying to find something, trying to understand what was being expressed, and listening very intently, and being a very diligent seeker, if you like. So I'd going to all of the meetings for many years in the UK anyway, to different places, and mainly just listening to Tony. There were a few other people, but it really wasn't very much that I spent a lot of time with that. It was mainly focused in what Tony was saying, because it was really just that with that expression, it was already everything that resonated here. I knew that I couldn't go somewhere else and find something different. It was clear that what was being expressed there was just 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 felt right somehow. That's the best way I can describe it. So yes, I kept on going to meetings. I went away from meetings for a little bit because I got so frustrated with it. I came back, and and just carried on going. And then apparently that ended, and in that ending, there wasn't anyone, and there wasn't anyone uh, to be to there was clearly what was longed for already was recognized to be what is. So that longing and that seeking just ended, and so then a little while after that, there was a sort of question from a few people as to whether I would want to speak about that or whatever, and I started to just talk, and so that's where this immediacy comes from, that expression. And this immediacy, in a way, those words were the words that resonated the most, around what is all there is this immediacy. That to me is a very neat way of putting something that can never be explained and never be understood. Just what is.
I am trying now to impersonate maybe some of our listeners here or watchers, and they might expect, wow, where's the firework? What isn't there like a celebration moment?
No, no, not at all. It wasn't very the end of me really wasn't very dramatic at all. It's not in a way sort of really worth mentioning. But of course there was a great sense of relief in this body. There was a huge relief that somehow that there was just an end to that seeking and that needing to find, because already what is enough. So somehow that was but there was no fanfare or big lights or anything. And no, and also a significant lack of glimpses. There wasn't any significant glimpses really. In the apparent life of David, there wasn't very much of that at all. There were afterwards, after there wasn't anyone, there was a recognition that there may have been these moments, but they weren't really recognized. There was just there were just an end and an apparent relief. Yeah. But for no one, this is the really weird thing. This is this is the end of happenings. There was, everything is sort of wanting to happen, and there is always something going to happen next, and always a longing for something to happen. And that's really just all the seeking, all the story of me. And then all that apparently goes on is that there's just an end to that, to happenings. There's the end to happenings. This is timeless. All there is what is. So, yeah.
Someone might be sitting there with a paper,
Yeah.
about to write off what are the requirements?
Yeah.
Where do I start? Where does it end?
Yes, totally. Well, that's the wonderful thing, is that there is nothing required, nothing needed. What is doesn't require sort of a maintaining or a practicing or a whatever. It's already this. So it's just the whole notion, which of course was here. There was many sort of practices that were done, and attempts to sort of better myself, in all these kind of strange ways. But that all, it's inevitably, of course, is doomed to failure. That anything that me attempts to do to fix me is bound to fail, because it's just the same continuous loop. So yeah, that's the apparent tragedy of me, that it will never find what it longs for, and also the wonder of it, because that's the that's what's so wonderful, is that this normality, just what is in this normality, is just is has always been, and always is, it always is what is. So it never left.
Just a moment. I think I have to make a note
Okay, yeah,
to shut down my YouTube channel, because this is kind of, no one is watching, no one is talking here, no one is talking there.
sure. Mm.
This is kind of yeah, interesting news for whom?
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, this is very often mistaken for a message. What's expressed here. There is no message at all. There's no teaching. There's no message. This is a statement. an expression, and it's absolutely and totally pointless. That's what's so wonderful about it. There's no need. There's just absolutely it's just empty of need, of requirement for anything or anyone. That's yeah, that's a
But isn't it then better like to go out and help the poor or
Well, there's nothing better or worse. I mean, there may be an impulse to go and help the poor, or there may be an impulse to go and help the rich. There's no or to do absolutely nothing and just, eat chocolate all day or whatever. But it doesn't matter. There's no that all of that sort of morality is all part and parcel of me trying to be better and trying to be good and right. And all of those things are just dreams. They're just part of the story. Yeah.
I take personally, I take great pleasure when I like read books about something related to non-duality. I watch videos of people those talk about Advaita Vedanta. I go to a Sikh temple and
Mm.
I hear from the good well in the Gurdwara some text they read or some sermon, and I recognize, wow, that's the same. It's the same. It's always
Well,
the same
I mean,
message.
it's apparently the same, but I mean, all of I mean, I love this, quote from Tony, which think is just awesome. I keep repeating it because I think it's just brilliant. But he said, your Zen was good for 5 minutes. And that's what and I think that that's a brilliant expression because that's the nature of it is that what is suddenly there can be a sudden recognition that that's what is, and then immediately that will be turned into a teaching, and it will be turned into a sermon, and there will be a teacher and there will be students, and that it is almost an automatic function of me grasping hold of what is apparently non-duality, although there is no such thing as non-duality. There is no thing called non-duality. All there is what is non-duality, but all there is this. So anyway, that whole thing is just a it's just a grasping, So it whatever teachings there are in Advaita or any of these apparent religious processes are very often a dualistic mirror of what actually is of the nature of what's being expressed, and so yeah, me is sneaky like that. Yeah.
Yeah, when I look at religions, they feel a little bit like an insurance company. You invest
Right. Yeah.
something and
Yes.
then you get out
Yeah.
something of it.
It's a
And
security blanket. I call it like spiritual security blanket. It's really just that me me needs to feel secure in its story, and those whatever that is, that practice, that self-inquiry, that process or whatever allows me to for a while feel a little bit secure, feel that it's okay. But of course, inevitably the system, whatever the strategy is, fails because it's based on nothing. This is total failure. This is total failure.
well, then excuse me, everyone who is already a very vigorous practitioner of any kind of religions. Maybe you feel offended. I'm sorry.
What's expressed here can feel offensive, of course. Yes, it can feel. To me, this is possibly the most offensive thing that there is. This kind of expression. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's highly offensive because it suggests that there isn't anyone, and that is really that's really quite getting to it. You know that's pushing all of the buttons at the same time. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder then, like, if you let people in, maybe someone comes in and says, "Oh no, the war,
Mm,
poverty, hunger, all these things, you know. Why do you say this? This is bad."
yeah.
And what are the requirements to come through the door?
Well, that's the interesting thing. There aren't any requirements. This is open. This is an apparently open secret. It is constantly open. It is just what is. So there's no requirements at all to find anything because this is already found. It's already done. Now, I mean, that doesn't this doesn't have anything in a way that there's no solving the apparent problems of war and hunger and all of the rest of it. That is just what is. And that sounds, that sounds to me like a very uncaring and cold or whatever, or detached quality. There's nothing detached about it. This is just an expression of what is. This is just actually suggesting there is apparent hunger, there is apparent, war. That's what's apparently happening, and there can be lots of responses to that. There's no right and there's no wrong.
And of course, I'd like to dissect it a little bit. So here is something, and it has this kind of mind somewhere in my body or outside. I don't know. And yeah, this is excited. I can put it in my little box, thinking boxes. Then I bring in maybe some little kid. He's 9 years old. He looks at the TV in front of me and says, "Well, yeah, this guy, he got cupboards. Nice." So there's a difference. I mean, someone comes into a conversation about this, and
Mm.
there's no way you can push them into the experience, I guess.
Well, then, no, this is, I mean, this is either, this is either, there's many responses to this kind of thing. What one can be just total rejection. It's just absolutely uninteresting and irrelevant. And that's the main thing. It's just sort of, rejected, out of hand, just not important for my life, which is absolutely true. It's not talking to anybody. This is not just talking to anyone. It's not for anyone. So, in a certain sense, it's totally clear that that would be a response that would often go on. There can be a resonance, and there can be an interest, or there can be a total boredom, a kind of feeling that this is a really boring thing to discuss, and why the hell would anybody talk about that? And so, yeah, I mean, this is really for this is as I said, this isn't really for anyone. This is just an expression out of nothing, and so that there's no yeah, as a result, there's no audience that this is playing to. Do you see what I mean? There isn't anyone. So what goes on here, and what is then and how that this is responded to is just what is. It's kind of irrelevant in a way.
In my experience,
Mm,
it fills me with joy talking about it.
mm,
And you use the word resonate.
mm,
I like music. I like vibration.
mhm,
The
mhm.
world is vibration.
Sure.
So there's this experience of vibrating with this, like being in
Yeah.
resonance. It makes click, and it fits completely nicely, and it's joy. What's happening there?
Yeah, it can be joy, and then it also can be. there can be a resonance and at the same time a deep frustration with this. And that's there's that because there's an apparent conflict going on with, that which wants to turn this into something, and that which recognizes that somehow this is all there is, and there is an apparent, quality of relaxation can be, but there's no telling. This is not there's there because there's no method, there's no answer here. There's nothing known. This speaker, whoever is, wherever this kind of expression is coming out of, is completely not important at all. There's not something important here. This is just a mouthpiece for what is. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole YouTube thing is completely useless because it doesn't change anything.
No, no, no. Sure.
Still, we're doing it. Yes. And someone is fulfilling their dreams. They get money out of it. The companies, the people are entertained. It's like, oh, what I'm gonna do this afternoon. Ah, I watched one of these videos. It relaxes
Sure.
me.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I watch when I watch your videos, and sometimes there's this silence. It's like
Mm, mm.
nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. A lot.
actually,
Yeah.
then I see you and I look at you, and then I get into kind of a trance and say, "Wow, that's nice." So, and
It's
by some
silence.
teachers, it's like pointed out, the real thing is the silence.
Oh, not at all. No. I mean, that would be again sort of cherry picking something. There is silence and there is noise and these and words and all of the rest of it. It's all what is. So there can't be silence as being important and talking or questions or whatever as being not as important, not as good. There's no hierarchy. There's just what is. There's just this. It's all energy in whatever form it is. So this is it. It's unconditionally neutral, and that's the wonder of it. That's the freedom, actually. That's the lusciousness, the aliveness, is actually that there's just neutrality and unnecessary for there to be something very important to latch onto.
And now we use the English language. And I remember there's this story of the invention of Zen, because Buddha was sitting there and maybe he just made like this, or he was sitting in silence, and then one of his disciples started Zen over there in
Well,
Japan.
in a way, it's exactly what Tony was is mentioning in what he said, that point that he made, which is that there's something completely a glimpse that can apparently the end of me. A glimpse is just the end of me, and there's that apparent moment which is timeless, which is a different, somehow that then gets turned into a religion, and that it's just instantaneous. It's just an instantaneous thing. That's it. That's what it is. I'm going to take that and turn it into something. And then Zen is so complicated, and then the all of the apparent things that need to be done in order to get there. Of course, there isn't anywhere to get, right? So all of the words and the various expressions around this are perfect wording, perfect lip service to non-dual speak. But all of that is bullshit. This is not about words. There's nothing to do with words. But of course, there are certain words that are chosen rather than others because certain words are just obviously deeply part of the dualistic dream. So, this is that's all. But it's not important at all. This is not about words. This has got nothing to do with words at all. And so there can be words and there can be not words. It doesn't matter.
Hmm. Yeah, I lost the train of thoughts, which is not so important, I guess.
No,
Because
it often, I mean, it's interesting
yes.
when people are, in meetings and things, that often goes on. There's like, trains of thought, and then suddenly it's just oh, gone. Yeah, it's funny. Mm.
Well, so for you, it's kind of a pleasure, I guess, to do that. Yes, as a
It's yes, beautiful. Love those sort of conversations that go on. Yeah, it's just very yeah, it's lovely doing that. Yeah.
I was having this vision like, okay, we're seeking something that is hidden, and actually, it's hidden in the open. It's everywhere. So it can be looking at a flower, it can be listening to your talk, it can be sitting down 20 hours in Zen
It's not
meditation.
hidden at all. It's totally open. What is just this. This is it. This is it. So it's just what is. But the longing and the seeking for it apparently hides what is. The apparent projection of me is what veils what is from being from just being. So it's just that that's the conundrum of seeking really, which is just about that. And of course, there's no blame or anything being said about that. So there's seeking that there isn't any one seeking. Seeking just apparently happens, and then it doesn't. And there's no rhyme or reason for that. It's just what seems to go on, the end of happenings.
And the whole world is hallucinating. I mean, everyone, the majority of persons I interact with, they are far away of understanding anything we're talking about.
Well, it's just completely uninteresting to my life, and so that dream of my life is what apparently is going on in the world quite a lot, and so yeah, that's quite an yeah, it's quite intense, that energy, as to put it mildly. It's quite a it's quite a trick. That's that whole tension around. I mean, ultimately, huge tension and sufferance around that. Yeah.
Yeah, the world is very tense. So, David, what will the future bring? Will we arrive at the paradise? Will it eventually, like, bloom everywhere with
Well,
everyone?
well, there is no future. There's just what is, of course. So there's no time. So that's it's just a sort of it's just an idea or whatever, a dream. But I mean, essentially, what can be said is really that what appears is that me is more and more frustrated with the inability of it to be able to find what it longs for. And so what apparently goes on is this tension seems to build up in the world and also seems to purge, and it purges itself in different ways, in wars, in conflict, and all that kind of thing. It's just a purging of that tension that goes on, and that doesn't seem to be letting up. That there seems to be that there's a big drive to there's still a big drive and still big apparent energy behind that, which there's a sort of a lot of inertia around that quality, and inevitably that sort of idea of like the finger on the button. This is really the place where apparent humanity, apparent me is it is quite, in a certain sense, suicidal. It longs for its own absence, which, of course, if there was that, the end of the apparent world kind of Armageddon, it is really a direct expression of the end of me. It is me inevitably falling away. But of course, in the death of the body, yeah, there is no escape for me. There is, the me inevitably, me is totally doomed. So there is no escape. It inevitably fails, wonderfully. It fails. Yeah.
A couple of wise people, they came around and they said, yeah, being here and now. And one wonderful teacher said, always repeated, be present.
Oh
And
God.
maybe and maybe someone in the audience said, what? A present for me?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, all of those teachings are just in a way a furthering of that exact same quality of seeking. So it's all about on a path trying to find somewhere, and these methods of being here and now are ways of getting where I long to get. So that's it's just another form of the same thing, but it would never be considered like that. Me often considers those sort of things as very spiritual and important, whereas here it's seen that those things are absolutely as just the same as anything else. It's just the same as somebody on YouTube telling you how to make more money and following a way of doing that. There's no difference. It's just what it is.
In Advaita Vedanta, they say, okay, you're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your senses.
Hmm.
All of this is not it.
Hmm.
What you are expressing right now. So what is it?
Well, there isn't, and there is also, there's nothing here that is saying that it's not this or it's not that, it's not the other thing. This sort of negation approach, in a way. Again, this negation approach is an approach. And so this is without approach. There's no approach here. This is just emptiness. So there isn't anything. Yeah, there's it's an odd thing for me to hear that, but there is nothing. There's nothing happening. There's just what is.
Someone's crying out, scammer! I mean, I paid for the workshop and now there's.
Well, yeah, I mean, it inevitably, people want value for money, and of course, there's absolutely nothing here. So it's always a bit disappointing, I have to say. These sort of conversations. I think for me, this is a very disappointing conversation because there's nothing that's gleaned from it.
Oh, nothing, nothing. I mean, come on. If someone's very tense and in deep depression and like totally running against the wall on a daily basis, this can be a little bit nicer, I think.
It may be, or it may be the worst possible thing for them. If there's a me trying to get somewhere, listening to this is absolutely awful.
Yes, maybe you were lucky, like you had this, the me, we can call it ego as well, or give it other names, I guess.
You could. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
They're all, ego in a certain sense is sort of, I don't know. I guess you could describe it in that way. A lot of the time, I think that's more to do with characteristics around that fundamental dream of there being I am real, which is really at the oh I am, to whatever you like, but that sort of seems to be at the center. There's a center called me, and then that's the beginning of subject and object and all the rest of it.
And this has to die.
Well, it doesn't actually die because, of course, it isn't a thing to die. There is no death, and there's also no life. There's just this. But I mean, there is a apparently that quality it in a way I call it the me state. It isn't There isn't something a thing called me. It's an apparent state of energy, and it's in a quality of contraction, and that's the only state there is. That contraction just can fall apart or melt back into what is, then there isn't that sense of separation that just falls away. So that's only apparent death. There is no death, of course.
And we were not born. So
No,
there is no
no,
birth, there is no death.
no.
This is pretty hard message too
Well,
for a lot of
it's not,
people.
as I said, not a message at all, but just an expression. But of course, there is no life, no death, because this is timeless. This is just simply timeless. There is nothing that's happening. There's nothing happening.
Well, it's a kind of a very fancy dream. There's so many things and things happening and
Well, it's a dream based on just on that fundamental sense of there being someone, and of course everything else, every other complexity that apparently comes out of that is just all part of the same thing, just repeating in a loop, round and round. It seems extremely complex, but it's just really, uh, you know,
yes, I have these people, they said, I had an awakening,
mm.
maybe out of this dream.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, if there is a glimpse, then there's no one, and then apparently someone comes back, you know,
It
and
says,
and
this is
then
my
and then
glimpse.
and
Give
then
it back to me.
that no one-ness, they claim that and make that part of the story of me. And then, of
Yeah.
course, I have to then find another one of those, or as many as I can, you know. So,
Let's make a club of the awakened.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that then naturally, I mean I don't present myself and hardly the speakers, so I naturally, because I don't see the point. Because in a way this channel is called talking to source,
Mm.
which means you it seems that I am talking to you, but actually I'm kind of talking to myself, or there's actually no conversation.
Yeah, and of course there is no source as well. That's which is the source is all about origin and about about there being an origin. So yeah, there is no origin. Yeah.
Well, there's this concept, of oneness. There's this one, and there's everything is included, everything,
Again, yeah, I
which is
mean, what in itself is a deeply dualistic concept because, of
oh,
course, oneness needs something to observe that it is one, so naturally is two. So this is why it's non-duality. It's not two. There's not oneness. There's just what is.
yeah, we can't make a little globe of something, because then there's this part which doesn't exist.
Well, it's naturally how me conceives of things. It's always conceiving of a subject and object, and in a way, I call what I describe how I describe that is calling it the song of me. It's the song of me is that expression. The song of me is also the questioning, the questions of that kind of thing. So all of that's just part of that song, you know, which is just what goes on. It's totally natural. It's totally just what seems to go on with human beings. It doesn't happen anywhere else. I don't have plants or cats or dogs, doing any of that stuff or, you know.
I spend a lot of time storytelling in all kinds of way. Like even taking a picture is kind of a storytelling because I take the picture and I just take a little frame out
Mm,
of reality and I say, "This is it. This is
mm,
the building you have to watch. Buy this postcard."
hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a selling of something in a way, you know. Mhm.
Yes, and of course, people need to. I mean, the whole what is also hard to grasp
Oh,
is
impossible to grasp
it
this, yeah.
is yeah, but although this like, oh, I'm working and now I can eat, I'm
Mm.
taking care of myself and of others, but all of this is completely made up stories because everything you eat that you can go in a supermarket buy something, someone has to put it there, so everything is
Well,
unfolding by itself.
all of those things just seem to happen without anyone doing any of it. So there are choices that only apparent choices, but the choices seem to be made. That body knows how to go towards th things that it likes and away from things that it doesn't like. It knows how to navigate, and it doesn't need anyone to do any of that. And so that kind of that's what seems to go on. It's, yeah.
But there's kind of a pleasure in it when you recognize that it's like all given, all is does it on its own, you know. There's no need for tension. There's no need to like, hey, it's 7 o'clock. I want to buy my yogurt. It's still not open.
There not being a need for tension doesn't mean that tension doesn't apparently happen. Tension does seem to go on. And of course there's it's not anybody doing it. It's just what's going on. Me isn't somebody doing me. It's just what seems to go on.
Yeah, we come back to the vibration, you know, it goes up and down. I mean, I'm hungry, I'm full. So it's always a fluctuation of things happening. There's no, so even if I'm like totally relaxed, eventually I want to have a coffee because I'm kind of falling asleep.
It seems like there are things that are happening. Actually, there's nothing happening.
Hmm.
The dream is that sequence, is that sequential continuation of something. There's nothing happening.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, maybe we should stop here. What would you like? Would you like to add something else? Maybe.
No, that's fine. I mean, whatever you would like, but I mean, this is not this is really all about a response to something. When there's questions or whatever, then there can be a response. But there's nothing really to say other than, all there is what is. Whatever is longed for is already this. And yeah, simply this is all there is immediacy for no one. It's just this.
Well, that's wonderful. David, I really appreciate time, your time.
It's a no, we don't need to worry about words and things. It's such a pleasure to speak to you and thank you for doing this meeting. And yeah, it's very nice to hear what you had to say as well. Yeah.